From Oscar Steakhouse, inside the Plaza Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, you're on the corner of Main Street. Welcome to the only podcast produced by and recorded in the Las Vegas Hotel Casino. From gaming to dining to entertainment to sports to Vegas history, this is the place to be for the inside scoop, because this is the place to be downtown. Now, here's Plaza CEO Jonathan Jossel.
Welcome to On the Corner of Main Street, everybody. It's great to be in downtown Las Vegas. Beautiful Monday morning. Doing something a little different today.
Sure,
Gary will introduce our guest in a second, but quick shout out to my friend Alex Acuna. Thank you for making this happening. Probably never listened to my podcast, but that's fine. You can speak.
I do. I have listened to it.
And
he's your biggest listener, actually. So
One of our corner Main Street killers.
that's right. Alex is a mutual fan of the Killers, like I am, and that's where the name of the podcast came to. But Gary, go ahead and introduce our guests.
Yeah, sure. So joining us today are two leaders driven by purpose, one with deep roots in the Vegas gaming industry, and the other one a U.S. Navy veteran dedicated to serving those who serve. Together, they founded the Easy Day Foundation, a nonprofit committed to supporting veterans and first responders through hands-on projects, community engagement, and meaningful partnerships. Welcome, Frank Fertitta IV and Landon Gyulay to On the Corner of Main Street. How are you guys today?
awesome.
Very good. Thank you for having us.
Just quickly, I am not a veteran myself.
No?
No.
Okay.
My grandfather
Let's
was a
get
veteran.
right into it then.
Yeah, like, it's a fast start.
Clearing that up.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Your grandfather's a veteran?
My grandfather was a veteran. That was kind of actually.
He was a Navy veteran.
He was. That's right. He was
Okay,
in the
all right.
Navy.
I had it right, just the wrong person.
He was a pilot in
Okay.
World War II. He flew 20 missions. He actually bombed Berlin on his 21st birthday.
Wow.
Really?
Which is a really crazy story. When I was very young, starting at like about age 7, I remember very vividly, I like went into his office and found his journals from World War II. And he was, a kid flying these missions over, Germany and from England, actually based in London. So it's like very, very crazy. To hear those stories, and at the time being as young as I was, it was, eye-opening, because guys like us, we were lucky to live in a peaceful world. Right. So I think that's a large part of, the why for me, for sure.
Well, why don't you guys tell us what is the organization? I mean, the why is important, obviously, but tell us about the organization.
So Easy Day is a nonprofit for veterans. We focus on raising funds and awareness, and then we distribute those funds to other organizations that do the operational kind of boots on the ground services. Our idea is basically to partner with large scale live events to raise money and awareness, and use those as a platform that seems kind of underutilized for the nonprofit space. So just trying to also stoke like a sense of patriotism and pride in the U.S. military amongst younger generations that are at these events and tuning in.
Okay.
Awesome. So, Frank, while you're speaking, give us a little bit about your background, because your name is synonymous with Las Vegas gaming and hospitality. So, how did you come to get to this organization, and a little bit about your history here?
Well, I was born in Vegas, born and raised, grew up in the casino industry. It's kind of like a second language to me when you grow up, having dinner in casinos every night with your family. It's a pretty unique upbringing. Felt normal to me until you go off to college or whatever and talk to other people, and they're like, yeah, that's not a normal upbringing.
It's funny because when I moved here, people used to say, do you live in the casinos? And I'd be like, what are you talking about? There's like 2 million people that live here.
Yeah, everyone thinks you live
But
in a
you
hotel.
really did.
Yeah.
You probably really did grow up
I
in the
didn't
casinos.
sleep there at night, but I was there all the time. Yeah.
You have any early recollections of like walking through the casinos?
I remember just always going to see my dad at work at Palace Station when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I'd go up into the office and draw on his whiteboard up there all the time. But
because I do think, like, I wonder if my kids my boys are 7 and 9, and they come to the casino a lot, and I wonder if they're gonna remember like the slot machines.
yeah, they were
through here.
You can smell cigarettes in the morning when you're 5 years old. You definitely remember it.
Yeah. And quick, you mentioned Palace Station, but quick shout out, they created bingo. I mean, that's what bingo.
Yeah.
That's
It was originally called Bingo Palace.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, when it first opened in 1976.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm like a big fan of bingo. I love bingo, and we're the only people running a bingo game in downtown. No one on the strip is except for South Point, really. So it's us and South Point that run the only bingo games really left on the strip. But I love bingo, and I know that's kind of where the game got popular. Was at I guess the bingo station. Bingo station?
Bingo Palace.
Oh, Bingo Palace before it was Palace Station.
How does that work
It's
with
called the
bingo?
casino and then Bingo Palace.
Is there like set times where they start each time throughout the day?
Sessions throughout the day.
So some places run at 24/7. We run it every odd hour, starting 11 a.m. till 9 p.m.
Got it.
But then once a month, I do this thing called Super Bingo, which is like my greatest event, which is about anywhere from 800 to 1,000, predominantly older ladies playing bingo for about 6-7 hours, and then they play slots. And it's the one time in the month when we outperform the entire market. So I'm a big bingo fan, and thanks to your family for bringing it to Vegas.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, it's a great story. My grandfather started off as a bellman here in town, just kind of worked his way up, learned how to deal cards, and then eventually started managing casinos. And then he left to kind of embark on his own journey to start casinos for locals. It just ended up being a smash hit, and then my father kind of grew the company into what it is today. And as I was growing up, the only thing I ever wanted to do was just do what my dad did and work with him every day. I get to work with him and his brother in the office on a regular basis, and it's a lot of fun to have family members in the same office every day. So
Do you guys still like sit down for lunch and dinner together?
every day, yeah, every day.
And you're technically the senior vice president.
Senior vice president of operations. I do a lot in development as well, but I kind of got my hands on everything, just, given the nature of the family business. So excited to one day hopefully take the reins.
Beyond the casino stuff, like other family businesses as well, or primarily?
Yeah, I'm involved in that stuff too, but I'm primarily on the casino side, just working my day to day at the Red Rock corporate office.
Well, for anyone listening that hasn't been out to the Durango, congratulations.
Yeah, thank
Incredible
you.
place.
Yeah,
I'm a
it's been
big
doing
fan.
great.
I'm coming there for lunch on Thursday, and love what you guys did there. I often tell people, I don't know if I told you this, but I often tell people that if I could, I would build the Durango of downtown, because we got 17 acres of land here. I'd love to do something, maybe not as nice, but I think downtown's ready for something like the Durango.
Yeah,
that you guys
kind of. My dad and his brother had a great idea, and they just kind of took a different approach from most casinos in town, where they let a lot of natural light in. It feels a little more kind of airy and comfortable and residential, maybe. And people have responded really well to it, so we're very happy about it. And I think it's a great kind of new concept for locals casinos.
Well, when you take the reins, we're going to have you back on the podcast to talk about that. But we're not here to talk about about the stations today.
Yeah, so then, Landon, tell us a little bit about you and how you got together, and then we'll kind of talk about how you guys formed.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I mentioned earlier, I grew up in Southern California, grew up in Newport Beach, and, finishing school down there, every single person in Newport Beach, it feels like, goes on to USC. And so, when I got to SC, that's actually where we met. So we met in the business school there at Marshall, and we're kind of fast friends. Now fast forward a decade out, I do absolutely nothing in hospitality. My business is investment management. And so what we do, I manage a venture fund that does equity and late stage credit for technology companies. So we have about 45 different companies in our portfolio, stretching all the way from hard tech names like SpaceX, and as diverse as consumer businesses like Liquid Death that makes actually beverages. So it's been an amazing ride.
The guys from Liquid Death at the Sphere on Saturday night.
No way.
I didn't realize they sponsored the Sphere as well.
Yeah. Peter and Mike and those guys, or
honestly, I'm embarrassed to say I forgot their name.
Okay.
They were invited by the Sphere, and we were all together at the Sphere. But yes, they said they were.
Yeah.
It was the CMO and the president.
Yeah. I mean, the founder of that, it was born out of kind of a fund in LA called Science.
Okay.
And the current CEO is this guy, Mike Cesario, who, is, like, for all intents and purposes, a marketing genius. If you actually look at their P&L, they don't spend any money on marketing. It's all earned media, and it's all through these crazy advertisements that they do they're like quite funny if you pull them up on YouTube. It's like completely like anti-advertising is how they've kind of built the business. But I mean, it's
a good
massively
product.
successful.
We carry it downstairs as well in the casino.
Yeah.
Do some stuff with them. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I think they got a ton of tailwinds. You spoke about some of the live event stuff. Live Nation is a big investor there, and so they're in all of the Live Nation, the portfolio of events that they do. And it's like, if you don't want to drink a beer, you can have a water that looks like a beer, right? That's the kind of idea. So
Smart.
It's pretty cool.
And so you guys met at school,
That's right.
and you're not business partners. You're just partners in the organization.
A couple small things
Yeah.
there, but not really. No, we just worked on this together. Started this about a year and a half ago. Founded it on Veterans Day of 2023.
What was the inspiration? Other than your grandfather? That you
Yeah, I mean, I think we both.
Grandfather, yeah. For me, I was fortunate enough to grow up with a few friends who served in the SEAL teams and a couple other special forces units. They're all the best guys that I know. And you hear just stories of their sacrifice and the things that they've been through, and then you hear how a lot of veterans come home and struggle after they leave the service, and it's just to me it's just a complete shame and disservice to guys and girls who have put their lives on the line for us, and for them to not for them to experience any discomfort when they get home to the States is it's just a massive shame, and we just wanted to do something about it. There's a lot of great organizations out there that do great work, but I think we can use more because there's still help out there that needs to be given. So.
Was it like a defining moment when you guys looked at each other and said we should do something about this?
Kinda, yeah. We were actually we were in Newport, California, just kind of hanging on the beach, having some drinks, and we just got to talking about like basically the reasons why we are passionate about this, and we were like, well, let's just do something about it. That Monday morning, we started looking into how to start up a nonprofit, and we just hit the ground running. We didn't know anything about how to do all this. We just figured it out as we went. It's super important to us. And, a year and a half later, fast forward, and we're doing a huge event with the American Music Awards here in Vegas at the Fontainebleau. It's going to be live on CBS and Paramount Plus, and throughout the night, you'll be able to donate. You can scan a QR code on the screen, send in money, and there will be a few moments. We'll have a couple of Easy Day performances with some huge A-list artists that haven't been released yet. Jennifer Lopez is hosting, and then we have, for the first time ever, this is the 51st American Music Awards, there will be a veteran award that's given out to a celebrity or artist that's been most impactful in the community.
What is Easy Day? What does it mean, Easy Day?
So Easy Day, it comes from a Navy SEAL motto that is the only easy day was yesterday. We kind of wanted to flip it on its head and make sure that for all of our veterans, all the easy days are ahead and not behind them. And all of my buddies that were in the SEAL teams, they, any mission or anything that they do, like no matter how easy or difficult it is, they're just like, yeah, easy day, I'll get it done. And that kind of resonated with me, and I thought it was a great name. So.
And that didn't exist before. You guys created Easy Day, you created a team, and now you're creating the foundation.
Yeah, we started everything from scratch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any type of specific needs or gaps you're trying to fill within that veteran space that you guys are able to?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's amazing VSOs across the nation, right, that address
Say those that don't know.
veteran service organizations, right? And so, these orgs will pinpoint a specific issue and kind of hit it head on, whether it's, Team Rubicon does an amazing job, one of our partners, with providing disaster relief, with veterans supporting that cause. Boot Campaign, which is another one of our partner orgs, does mental health work for folks that, have PTSD. What we thought is, if you're going to be making a donation, you actually want it to, holistically help all different parts of, the
reintegration
right,
process.
Exactly. And so, this idea was with one single kind of point of donation, you can touch all these different things. And the way we're powering this is also really interesting. The night of the event, if you donate that evening, 100% of every dollar you donate goes to the organizations. And so it's incredibly high throughput. to the actual, different things that we're doing with the partners.
So it's countrywide. It's not specific to Nevada or any others. It's the whole country.
Yeah.
We have 8 partner organizations, and they range from locally UNLV Military and Veteran Services to boot campaign out of Texas and Bob Woodruff Foundation, a lot of national foundations as well.
Because I know there is an amazing veterans hospital here in Las Vegas, and I know that because our bingo director was a Vietnam vet. He was, I think, our second ever episode over here, and he got shot in the neck in Vietnam, but he used the veterans hospital here, and when he got COVID, some of the best facilities in the city are there.
Yeah.
We wanted to start this with like our main kind of purpose being, helping people reintegrate back into society, which is, we focus on mental health services, family support services, and job placement, just basically all things that can kind of give veterans, like, you go from doing the most important job in the world to coming home and not necessarily knowing what your next step is, and giving people that sense of purpose. Again, it does a lot to help their minds be put at ease.
So you mentioned the event coming up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Firstly, how did this come to be? It's American Music Awards is a huge event. How did you guys get involved?
Yes.
And you guys are only 18 months old. Like, so new in this space.
It's funny, we had this vision to put on a huge event just right out of the gates, and had a few people say, "Are you sure you want to go that big right away?" And we were just like, "Yeah, absolutely. Like, why? We're not going to waste time. Let's just get after it. We don't care how much hard work we have to put into it. We just want to make it happen." But so we had this big vision, and then kind of right at the time we were developing this vision, Jay Penske came up to our office at Red Rock and basically said, "Hey, I'm moving the American Music Awards to Vegas. I heard you guys were thinking about doing something for veterans, and I want to do something similar." So we just had a similar vision, and figured it made a lot more sense to just tackle it together. He's a great guy, and he's been very helpful through all this process. So we're excited to be working together.
So he initiated it with you guys. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he had just heard that we were kind of like noodling on the similar concept, and then we just joined forces and did it together.
So I don't know if you know this guy, but Jay Penske, amazing guy. I think he's only 46. He's a younger guy. And he owns Billboard magazine, Variety magazine, Rolling Stone.
He was a part of the Life is Beautiful last year.
And also bought Life is Beautiful a couple of years ago and threw it with us in downtown last year. But more significantly, he's also, and I can say this because it's not a secret anymore, he's buying the Downtown Grand.
Right.
Hasn't closed yet, but is buying the Downtown Grand supposedly next month. And we'll be converting it into Rolling Stone Hotel Casino. So we welcome him to downtown. That would be an awesome addition to the neighborhood. I think he's got huge visions for the brand and what it could be. So it's pretty cool that you guys have partnered up with him. And maybe the AMAs will be at the Rolling Stone Hotel Casino next year or in 2 years, whenever they do the remodel. And then you guys will spend more time down here. You ever spend any time down? I mean, you're not from here, but
I was saying to Frank when we pulled up, I've actually never been down here. So this was like the first time for me to come over here and see this. And we were just even over there looking through into, what is that?
Telling him he's got to walk the Fremont experience if he never has before.
Yeah.
Something to see for sure. Huge, 20, 24 million tourists a year come down there. It's
crazy.
It's sort of the hub of downtown, big light show, but all the casinos program on there as well.
Amazing.
You're sitting at 1 Main Street. This is the first address in Vegas. This is where the city really began.
Amazing.
And I understand Alex, with good taste, took you to Publicus this morning.
Yeah,
coffee shop.
Yeah,
that's my spot.
there.
That's
Pretty
my.
good.
You liked it?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Some scones, they were great.
They're good. Yeah, yeah. I'm a Publicus fan. So no, downtown's cool. It's really happening.
And this room right here is beautiful.
Yes, this is Oscar Steakhouse.
Yeah.
It's the old dome.
Right.
There used to be a swimming pool back in the 70s.
Really?
Yep. And now it's the steakhouse. So it's cool. You guys have to come for dinner pretty soon.
Would love to.
So
If you need to make a reservation, it looks like Alex is over there working the phones as we speak. So.
Alex, you putting that reservation in for us?
Man.
So on the night,
Yeah.
will you guys be at the event?
Yeah, of course.
And so what's like the format? People are calling in, making donations?
Yeah, so I mean, there's red carpet beforehand. We'll go into the venue. It's going to be typical award show format, but there's going to be just some moments throughout the broadcast where we'll hang a QR code on the screen and people can donate. We'll have some veteran speakers too, kind of tell their stories and how certain programs have impacted them for the better, and why people should be giving and what it does to help. So
Will that all air live on CBS as well?
live on CBS and Paramount Plus. Yeah,
That's going to be awesome.
It might be a silly question, this, but like, surely the nature of the state of the country determines like how many veterans there are. Like if the country's at war,
Right.
because you said maybe before we went live, like we've all grown up in a really privileged time where
Yeah.
there hasn't really been wars or anything. But
Yeah.
like now, the veterans, there's still problems, right? There's still people coming out of the military service.
Honestly, there's about 19 million veterans in the country almost. There's 200,000 people leave the service every year.
Really?
And a huge number out of those veterans every year need services like this.
It's crazy because, like, to me, when growing up, there was no real big conflict, right? But now, just thinking about it, 2001 was 24 years ago that America went to war, right? And then there's been a high volume of veterans pretty much ever since,
Right.
Right, and they're all kind of coming back and being kind of reintegrated into society. And just a quick personal story, but my dad was a veteran, and I don't think he ever really reintegrated back into society up until his passing. You know what I mean? So you guys,
a lot of people don't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
but
I mean, it's like I think the stat for me that like activated me to think about this is essentially like the number one cause of mortality is not folks dying in action anymore. It's like people coming home from suicide or, other things from post-service.
Right.
And so it's, it raises the question of like, the tip of the spear in terms of, the technology and the arms that we give these people don't seem to be the issue. It's actually like the reintegration post-service, right? And I think that's where, private and public can come together to do a lot of good and make a big impact.
I think it's like 17 veterans die by suicide every day.
Every day.
Every day. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, good for you guys. How can we at the Plaza help, and how can somebody listening to this be of help?
I think tune in to the AMAs on May 26th at 5 p.m. And donate while you're watching the broadcast. 100% of the donations will go straight to our partner organizations, or go to easyday.org and donate.
Yeah. I think there's also tickets that are going on sale. It's not here at the Plaza, unfortunately. It's at Fountain Blue.
Yeah.
But
That's okay. This podcast is all about shedding a light on the community, people doing good stuff.
Yeah.
We have
we
our
appreciate
competing
that.
casinos on the podcast. We talk
appreciate
about
that.
everything happening.
We've had people from Fountain Blue here on the
you go.
podcast too, so we're
Yeah.
all about Las Vegas. And
Although they don't like that because they've all been fired since then.
I mean,
Now there's like a stigma if you're at Fountain Blue, don't come on the podcast. Well, it's just a fact.
Yeah.
It's
Oh man. So Frank, obviously, your family's built a legacy with not just Stations Casinos, but the UFC. Do you see Easy Day being something that shapes your legacy here in Las Vegas?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, this is something that I branched out and started on my own with Landon. My family's been very supportive of it, but this is my mission, and it's something that we're committed to for life. So Landon and I devote a lot of time to this, and we plan to keep doing that. We hope that this is a huge success so that we can come back and partner with the AMAs year after year and other large-scale events in town and nationwide. So we think we're onto something good, and we're excited.
When you say, do you think beyond the AMAs, are there other events that you would want to be associated with?
Yeah, we definitely
to
do.
me, the NFR seems like a great tie-in. And the history of
we're kind of in the process of figuring out who else we're going to be partnering with at these events, and nothing to report yet. We're still working through it, but we will let everyone know as soon as we are ready to announce.
Yeah. But I think like the concept of, live events, award shows, things like this, where we can drive more of a purpose. I think it's a a
We
no-brainer.
really wanted to be able to raise awareness at the same time as raising money. It's a great way to do both. And especially amongst younger generations, we kind of felt it's disappointing that, there may not be as much pride in the military or sense of patriotism amongst younger generations. Right. And we thought that live events and music is a great way to reach out to that demographic and get them involved. So
That's a really great point. How do you get the next generation involved? Because I do love America is so patriotic, right? I mean, I'm obviously born in South Africa, grew up in London, been here now for 18 years. But you go to like the Golden Knights game and they always honor a vet. Right. And everyone gets up, stands, takes their hat off. Yeah. You go to an NFL game, they always honor the veterans. There is an amazing connection between America and that. But to your point, how do you get the next generation and a bigger tie-in as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And Bill Foley, owner of the Golden Knights, his foundation is one of our partners, also Folded Flag. Yeah, so they help Gold Star families.
Awesome.
Getting scholarships to young kids that have lost their a parent in combat. So that's a great organization as well that we work with.
Yeah.
What are some of the other organizations that you guys partner with in order to bring this mission home?
Yeah, so there's 8 partners that we have.
Okay, wow.
Folded Flag, which
that's
Frank
Bill Foley
mentioned,
one.
which is the Bill Foley. We have IAVA, which is Iraqi and Afghanistan foundation for folks that served during those. Boot Campaign. We have Team Rubicon. We have UNLV, Fisher House, and Bob Woodruff.
Yeah.
And I think, is that 8? I think I touched on almost all.
Most of them.
Yeah. Majority there.
I do have a random question back to the AMAs. What's Dick Clark's connection to it?
Yeah.
So Penske Media owns Dick Clark Productions, which owns the AMAs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like a middleman.
Yeah.
Penske.
They're the
They
producer.
do like Country Music Awards, AMAs. They do the New Year's Eve ball drop.
The Rockin'.
Rockin' New Year's Eve.
Yeah, which is huge, I hope.
Yeah.
Mass. Yeah.
I think it's his second most watched television event after the Super Bowl.
See how I undersold Penske? If he ever listens to my podcast, he'd be like, "Man, you didn't do me justice. You only mentioned like 3 of the 30 things I own."
It's crazy though, because we spend a lot of time on the podcast talking about I guess the good old days of Las Vegas and some of its history, and a lot of things were done by handshakes and just networking. But to know that Penske, that has some handshake deals with you that you guys have worked on with you guys as well, it seems like a little bit of that.
It's a good community. Vegas is a great community. Everyone pulls together. Everyone helps. I mean, they're much bigger than just Vegas. They're the country, and it's a much bigger cause. But it's a great community. People always help each other out here. It's more than anywhere I've ever been.
Yeah.
Really powerful community.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we don't want to keep you guys all day. I'm sure you got other places to be. Gary, you wanna take us home here? And
Yeah, I got one more question before I get to my loaded question we do on every podcast. But what's the big end goal? What's the big for Easy Day Foundation? What are you guys looking to do? I mean, 18 months in, you're already hosting the AMAs, and that's over Memorial Day. Is that the date?
On Memorial Day.
May 26th, yeah.
Okay. So then you guys have already gotten way past where you should probably be for 18 months. But that's due to your hard work. What's the big pie in the sky? What are you guys looking to?
I think the end goal is, one, to raise as much money and awareness as possible. We also want to just inspire the entire country to to be proud of American vets and the military, and take action to give back to a cause where these people are sacrificing their lives. They're going through a lot of pain and hurt for us to live in the greatest country on the planet. And they definitely don't deserve to come home and have to struggle or not have the resources that they need to be successful. So our goal is to help as many of those people as we can, because they deserve it.
Yeah. I think I would also add, I think, supporting veterans should not be a partisan issue, right? And I think some of the divisiveness over the last, decade or two has kind of made it that way. And I think what we're trying to do is bridge both sides and bring back just the cause to the forefront and say, hey guys, we should support these people. And so I think that's a big part of this as well.
Great. So that usually I ask is, do you have any career or life advice, for our listeners? But I'm just going to ask, what is, how can people help? Are there other ways other than the Easy Day Foundation where our listeners can help and contribute to the overall cause? I'll ask each of you guys other ways that they could do other than contributing at the AMAs on Memorial Day Monday?
I would say, come to the website, look at some of our partners. There's ways you can volunteer. You don't necessarily have to donate. There's different ways to kind of be activated in the community, and we're putting out stuff on our socials all the time. And so I think being open to that sort of stuff is, a big way that people can help.
Yeah, and just spreading the word and being proud to be American and being proud of the people that make it all possible. I think that, like Landon said, that shouldn't be a partisan issue. That's just something that, we should all kind of live and breathe every day.
Yeah, and thank you guys for dressing up for this podcast. Really, I know you did that just for me. Of
course.
But I do think you should ask them because they're very accomplished gentlemen. Your regular scheduled question.
Okay.
So what is some career life advice you'd like to give to our listeners?
Anyone starting out in the industry? Anyone new to Vegas?
I would say, if you have a big vision and you like have some burning desire to do something and you're afraid to do it because you don't know how. We didn't really know what we were doing either. We maybe still don't, but we just jumped in and started. And a year and a half later, we're doing a big event with the AMAs. So it takes a little bit of time, but with hard work, you just you end up getting to your goal. So just jump in.
Yeah. I would say, kind of piggybacking off that, I think it's, every day is a fight. Every day is, there's adversity that you face. It's a matter of the people that win are the people that show up every single day, and get back in the trenches Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, day in, day out. And I think that is the greatest way to compound anything over time. I think, that's, I think, the best piece of advice that was ever given to me, and hopefully, others will take it.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah,
thank you so much. Do you have?
No, I was going to say, we've really never done a podcast about an organization like this, and so I'm really honored to have you guys here. And thank you for the hard work you're doing, because we just tell a story about Vegas. We want people to look back and say, what was Vegas like in this generation, this time, and the history of Vegas, and share some of that with people all over the country. But if we can also spread this message and use our platform for that, what a great cause. This is, like you said, a nonpartisan issue and an amazing thing that's frankly I'm very passionate about, but never done anything like what you guys have.
Very proud to be born in Vegas, this organization, and we hope that we can do many more events over the years based here as well. So I'm excited.
Thank you so much for joining on the corner of Main Street today.
Thanks, guys.
Hold on, wait, before you end, what about their Instagram handles or their social media? You mentioned the social media.
Yeah. I think our socials are Easy Day Foundation. So you can check us out. We're on Instagram, Twitter.
And I don't have social media. So
Yeah. But definitely check us out. There's posts up all the time. So really appreciate it.
And check out the AMAs.
In the AMAs.
Memorial Day Monday, CBS and Paramount Plus.
That's right, 5 p.m.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You a fan of On the Corner of Main Street? You're listening, so we'll assume that's a yes. So share the love, rate, review, and tell a friend to subscribe. Also, follow us on Twitter and Instagram @PlazaPod, on Facebook, Plaza Podcast, and feel free to write to the man himself @Jonathan Jossel. We'll see you next time, right here on the corner of Main Street.